Welcome to my channel. Whatever stage of your career you might be in, whether you are someone who's studying in business school, whether you are a young working professional, or whether you're a seasoned working professional, you will always be asked upon to answer a few why questions. Why do you want to work for this role? Why should we hire you? And finally, why do you want to leave this job? Now, these why questions are actually absolutely essential and can make or can break your career. And I'm going to talk from my own experience in terms of what we look at and what we don't look at from the other side of the table. So let's get this video started. The HR will ask you, why do you want to join this company? This is typically asked to people, say, who have 3 to 4 shortlists from companies. Now, this is a very tricky question, and how should you answer this? Now, whichever interview you go to, whether it's a business school or a company, you should do some research on that place and talk about certain aspects of the company which appeal to you. Could be the culture, could be the brand, could be any aspect about that company. The next why that you will be asked to answer is, why do you want to join this role? So let's start with what are answers you should probably avoid. Now, most people leave their jobs because of their bosses. They're not happy with their bosses. It's probably true 80% of the time. But you should never tell the other company that the only reason you're joining them is because your previous job was bad. You should also not tell the other person that your previous job was either very low quality or boring or mundane, shows you in very, very poor light. You should also not tell the person you're interviewing with that your only primary driver is money. Now, he might be giving you a 50% hike or a 60% hike, but that should not be the only reason you should be shifting jobs. So what are good reasons to say why you are joining a company and why does the role appeal to you? Now, you should do a bit of research on the company. You can talk about its brand name, you can talk about its work culture, you can talk about the fact it operates across geographies, and you can also talk about the fact that you have many batchmates and seniors in those companies and they've spoken very highly of it. Why you want to apply for the job, you should talk about aspects of the job that appeal to you. So say you come from industry and you're trying to make a shift to consulting, you'll probably talk about aspects of the job that you always wanted to face CXOs, you wanted to travel, you wanted to work across different industries, you wanted a higher learning curve, and you always had the drive and desire for consulting, and hence a shift to consulting always makes sense for you. Now, sometimes when you come from special situations, honesty is actually appreciated. So, for instance, if you're coming back from maternity leave after a period of, say, 1.5, 2 years, it's best to say that I've been on maternity leave for 2 years and now I want to join back the workforce. I think it's an answer which is well appreciated. If you were starting your own firm for, say, a couple of years and that didn't work out, it's very okay to come and say, I tried for a couple of years, it didn't work out, and now I want to come back to the workforce. Or if you took a sabbatical, say you took a sabbatical of 12 months, either to travel or to write or do a side gig, and now you've done that and you want to come back to the workforce, that's perfectly all right to actually say that. So this is how you actually answer this particular why. The next why that might be asked, and this is when the company is going to ask you, is why should we hire you? Why should we hire you for this role? And the best way to answer this is to look at elements of the role and to tell the person that you have some experience in all the elements of that role. So for instance, if you are interviewing for FMCG marketing, FMCG brand management, you will typically need skill sets along understanding consumer behavior, understanding data and Nielsen specifically, working with various agencies. And typically you should talk about in terms of how in your previous job you have had enough exposure working with ecosystem partners, looking at data, understanding data, and having a very close understanding of consumer, and how this role is a more enhanced version of what you're doing, and that's why you want to take it. Now, sometimes you might not have the past to fall back upon. Say you're a fresher coming into business school and a consulting firm asks you that why should we hire you? And you should typically look at what the role demands and give examples from your extracurriculars or from your academics. So in case of consulting, you can talk about what the role demands is working with a variety of people, participating and having good people skills, presenting at large forums, and you can talk from your extracurriculars in terms of if you've done debating, if you've done theater, if you've done case competition, student politics, and all of those flavors you can bring about saying, I have some of this exposure and this is a logical next step. So that's how you take care of this why. Let's come to the trickiest why you will face in your life, and you'll face this a few times in your life in terms of why do you want to leave this company? Now, an HR person could be asking you this, or someone very senior in your team could be asking you this. So how do you approach this why? One guiding principle is obviously you never burn your bridges. Now, most people leave because 80% of the time their bosses don't treat them well. So that's why they leave. But still, you don't burn your bridges. So how do you have this conversation? When you have this conversation, whether it's with someone very senior in the firm or with HR, you actually start by telling them what you're grateful for. So what the firm has done right for you in terms of your tenure there. And then you start pointing out what you're not happy with. Could be your boss, could be your team culture, could be a promotion that didn't happen, could be a salary that was not corrected, or could be that you wanted an international location and the company is not able to get you there. So that's how you typically have this conversation. Now, sometimes when you have this conversation, the HR or the person who's very senior in the team realizes that you have a point and they make a counter offer and they actually give you what you want. So should you take it? My personal belief is you shouldn't, because if the ecosystem is designed in such a way that you need to leave to make them realize your worth, this is something that will happen in the future again and again, and you can't leave every time to get your due. So this is the final why, and this is the most trickiest why you will face a multiple number of times in your life. With this, we come to the end of this video. If you have any questions, please do reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll try and answer as many as I can. Do subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, do like this video. You can also see the other videos I have created for this channel. Until next time, take care.